So thank you both very much indeed as the main hosts here. But we have another co-partner, another co-host as well, which is the Club of Rome. What I'd like to do is invite three speakers from the Club of Rome now to join us up on the platform. Professor Ernst Ulrich von Weizsäcker, who's co-president of the Club of Rome, Sylvia Zimmermann de Castillo, who is the co-director of Watershed, and also Jörg Geier, who's associate director and chief coordinator of Watershed, this umbrella under which we're sitting today without any rain outside. The Club of Rome, along with the Pontifical Council for Culture, the Club of Rome is a global think tank. All of you know it well, but let me just remind you that it deals with a variety of international issues, including the world economic system, climate change and environmental degradation. Founded in 1968 at the Accademia dei Lincei here in Rome, hence the Club of Rome, it describes itself as a group of world citizens sharing a common concern for the future of humanity. And since it was formed, my goodness, how many concerns there have been. And water is really just the latest, although it's been building for so long, but it's coming down the track at such a speed, along with so many other unthinkables and unpredictables in this world. So, Professor von Weizsäcker, the floor is yours for 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Your Eminence, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Indeed, the Club of Rome is... Who is moving it? Can I move the machine? Oh, here. Okay. The Club of Rome, indeed, is nearing its 50th anniversary, which we are going to celebrate in Rome. For that, one of the inputs will be a new report, likely to be a report by the Club of Rome, inspired to a large extent by Laudato Si, as has been mentioned, sort of updating the first famous book by the Club of Rome, The Limits to Growth, published in 1932, updating it to the full world, according to Herman Daly, a former member of the Club of Rome, as opposed to the empty world, which existed 1,000 years ago, and even 200 years ago, and even 100 years ago, and 50 years ago, when conditions were much different from what they are today. So an update is necessary. But in looking for solutions, we seem to be confronted with some kind of a philosophical crisis. We ask the right questions and give wrong answers. And with the help of Laudato Si, we seem to come nearer to an understanding of the profoundness of change that we need to give the right answers, including changing our perception of the usefulness or destructiveness of selfishness, which is a bit of a difference to today's understanding of economics. Well, this is the so-called Anthropocene, in a sense, the incorporation of the full world. And in those 24 curves, you see that essentially the explosive growth, the explosive transition from the empty world to the full world is 50 years old, requiring new thinking. Then we think we had the Enlightenment in Europe, which was a liberation, no doubt, but it also serves as the basis for that thinking of selfishness. You know, utilitarianism can be arrogant against God and nature. And this was part of the integral part of the Enlightenment. In the new report by the Club of Rome, we are now suggesting to work on a new enlightenment, with some new features, in particular, balance instead of just doctrines, the economic doctrine kind of thing. And the balance would be, for instance, between state and religion. A purely religious state, as the Islamic State is claiming or so, can be a disaster. It's not good for religion either. And a completely anti- or non-religious state, purely secular, is selfish, is also wrong. But a good balance is what we need. Or speed and reliability. In today's economy, speed is all. If you are the fastest, then the others will be left behind and you are the winner. But then people want reliability. So again, a balance is needed. Or markets and state. At the times of Adam Smith, there was a balance between the invisible hand, which was a religious term at the time, and the law, the state. But today, markets are global and the states are national. Therefore, the markets are winning over the state, destroying the ruling. Again, a balance is needed. Now, you could go on 100 different kinds of balance where we really need. So, a new enlightenment, well, that is perhaps some kind of a spiritual watershed, insofar fitting to this conference. Now, let us greet a few people who work for the Club of Rome, members of the Club of Rome, who do a lot of good things in terms of water, including in particular my friend Gunther Pauli, who is here, and then, of course, Jörg and in particular Silvia, who has taken the initiative. This is fantastic, members of the Club of Rome, all working on water. And then I'd like to mention also a book which I wrote with an Australian team, Factor 5, in which we demonstrate that a 5-fold increase of resource productivity is available, including of water, meaning that for good livelihoods of poor and not so poor people, only 1/5 of the water is needed. Just 2 examples. Advanced drip irrigation beats flood irrigation by something like a factor of 4. That's the technology available. Now, we don't do the primary research for that, but we give policy advice to those to decision makers all around the world. Or from just down the drain, which is the usual use of water, it's not good enough. But with water purification and recycling, we can do a lot more. The River Rhine runs through civilization 10 times before reaching the ocean, meaning with the very strict European drinking water directive, we manage that reused water is being fantastically useful for everybody. So these are just a few examples. Now, the water scarcity is really threatening us. These days we saw a new study by FAO here in Rome saying that if current trends continue, then in a couple of decades, the Near East and North Africa would become uninhabitable due to the lack of water. So it is really a very serious, very urgent task to care about the value of water, the human right to water. And we are very proud, cooperating with the Vatican and many other organizations who are here on improving the situation of water and of humans in the use of water. Thank you very much.